Good afternoon. As we said earlier, the numbers don't lie. I mean, the situation of crime and these stats for the period April to June this year showing more murders, more multiple murders. Yes, a drop in the number of reported rape cases, but the number of women who've been raped still very high.
Increasingly high, Britain, and most of these rape cases actually happened in the homes of these alleged victims, of course here being women and children, which is a great concern to show usually those who are alleged to be raping some of these women are those who are close to these women as well. But also there's been an element of question as to how many of these cases haven't been reported, so questioning the numbers that we received today in stats as well. But I've been getting reaction. I spoke to the Liquor Trading Association board earlier on, who said that alcohol was a fatal contributor to some of these crimes related to gender-based violence, which we have seen as well, which we saw about 855 women being killed, I think from April to June, and of course 234 children also being killed there. And while this is the case, I'm getting reaction now from a gender-based violence activism group, not in my name, who's joining us on eNCA this afternoon, Themba Masango, Secretary General. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, we just concluded with this media briefing, just a few minutes away from where we are right now. Are you concerned with the numbers? You've raised an element of what about those cases that haven't been reported to some of the local police stations as well?
100%. Thank you so much, Pule, and to the viewers at home. Well, basically, what we took out of this report and statement by the minister is that crime is there. It continues to be pandemic and also systematic in the country. Looking at the gender-based violence stats, the minister was talking about that minus 800 from the previous quarter were reported. But those are reported cases. And why are they reported cases? Is because many women in South Africa no longer have the faith in the justice system, especially the police, to go and report cases of gender-based violence and abuse and sexual harassment, because people get favors, people get special treatment and so on. And you'll know that many times most people don't report these cases. On the ground, what we're experiencing on a daily basis is that these numbers are actually escalating by the time. And we are very worried as a civil society that why is it that the stats, official stats, are actually coming down, but what we are getting on a daily basis is that a lot of women are coming out to groups like us to say, listen guys, I've been abused, I've been molested, and so on. And when it comes to court cases are being dropped and so on. So we have to look at it holistically. So I don't think it is the 100% truth to say that when it comes to gender-based violence and abuse that the stats have dropped. No, the reported stats are the ones that have dropped, and obviously that's all that they can actually report on. But the actual fact is that on the ground, on a daily basis, we are facing a pandemic, and it is really difficult. And it is more difficult right now when we're having situations where a minister is getting almost special treatment, unlike other people who have been accused of sexual harassment, where police go and arrest them and, do the proper things by the law. They get special treatments they can be able to write letters and their versions and so on. No one has been to court, no one has been arrested yet. It's difficult when our mothers are being asked for happy endings at Kruger National Park.
We speak about that and we speak about some of the problems that are coming with these cases as well. As civil society, have you tried to maybe pen down some of the solutions which you think can speak to this issue? I mean, we know there's been a clarion call around there having to be special courts dealing with gender-based violence cases, and we're yet to see this as well.
You would know, Pule, that it's been years we've been crying for making sure that police are adequately trained when it comes to issues of rape and victimizations, especially at the front desks at police stations. You will know that we've been calling out for specialized units when it comes to issues of sexual violence in the country, because our femicide rate is 5.1 times higher than anywhere in the world. And it is almost as if in South Africa women are endangered species. So we have to make sure that police are competent, they understand the laws around gender-based violence. Every single police station in this country has got kits that are prepared to be able to assist people who come with sexual violations, so that when it comes to court, you can have proper prosecutions. Furthermore, throwing money at it won't help. You know, you remember last year or 2 years ago, the president offered R1 billion towards the fight of gender-based violence. We are saying that we need a clear audit with regards to what happened to that money, which organizations were funded, where did that money go, how many people did it help? Because throwing money at a situation in a country like South Africa, 9 out of 10 times people are sitting in their air-conditioned offices and doing nothing about it. Now we're hearing that there's a second Imbizo that is being called. More money is going to be thrown at the problem, and nothing is actually trickling down to the ground. What are people in Mamelodi saying? What are people in Iskandav saying? What are people in Hammanskraal saying? What are people in Umtata saying? Right where cameras don't reach, where police stations are in far-flung areas, we need to be actually using that money to be able to get to the ground, to be able to change the mindsets of young growing boys, change the mindsets of men in this country by making sure that the message that says no to misogyny, that the message that says no to patriarchy, the message that says women in this country deserve and are entitled to the full right to be free in this country needs to happen. But we are not seeing that. And that is why you are going to see these stats continue to escalate. That is why you're going to see less women trusting the system and actually going out to the police and coming to organizations such as ours to try and assist them with their own cases that they are facing. Right now in my office, I'm sitting with no less than 18 cases of women who are saying, please, my perpetrator, I'm living with him. I was raped by a neighbor, and so on and so on and so on. And we're actually having to go there. And going to police to say, please assist us with this thing becomes an issue. They say, these people are bypassing processes and so on. But people generally, on deep down, don't trust the system. And we've got to work at that.
Just the last one before you step away from my side. I spoke to one association earlier on who said alcohol was the biggest contributor to this. The stats being released as well do show that most of these rape cases, which were actually allegedly orchestrated, were perpetrators who were allegedly under the influence of alcohol. With the problem of us having, or rather SAPS having to be under-resourced, they are at the Imbizos, they're visiting communities, but at the very same time, we have this central problem. We saw it, we see it happening not only with the rape cases, but with the gang shooting killings at some of the taverns. We saw it as well being the core central focus at the Enyobedi Tavern. Yeah. Do you think this is becoming something that has to be regulated? Government is calling that the alcohol consumption age regulation limit should be 21. What is civil society saying?
I partially agree with that look, we generally have an alcohol problem in the country, and that is caused by a lot of social ills and social economics of the country. That's a different argument that we have to look at altogether. And indeed, yes, alcohol does play a vital role, because right now people are unemployed, the youth is unemployed. You've got a situation where people are in debt. People are only now starting to feel the effects of the lockdown and COVID-19 in the country. And many a time, people then will turn to alcohol, and that also causes situations where people go back home, they are drunk, and inhibitions are gone, and they act out their most base and vile, feelings and sentiments and so on. So indeed, yes, but we should look at it at a far more deeper level. Let's fix the economy. Let's make sure that there's jobs for young people. Let's make sure that people are not retrenched. Let's make sure that labor understands that this thing is a whole chain reaction, and it ends up in the home. When a father gets to a home today and he's retrenched, the first place he's going to pass through. Do you know that in almost every single township in this country, the first port of entry from a train station or from a taxi rank is a bar? And that guy will 9 out of 10 times be tempted to go there, drink something, and then he goes home. When he gets home, he's frustrated, children are hungry, mother is demanding for something to happen. And what happens? Gender-based violence continues to escalate in our country. So we've got to look at it holistically and try to solve these things. That's why this country needs desperately a leadership that's going to take us out of this rut that we're in.
From my name, Secretary General there, Pradan, joining us this afternoon, just getting reaction on that problematic epidemic called gender-based violence there. Police saying that they try by all means to curb more crimes coming out of that problematic issue. But on the ground, like you've just heard, it's different issues. Every day, women are complaining and crying for help. So I guess this is something that will give the SAPS and of course the justice system a very tough task to look into and ensure that they come up with very solidified strategies to put an end to this pandemic.